Hello, everybody. Good evening. And yes, it's the Steel Toe Arraignment Show, brought to you with limited interruptions by Stoney's Bar and Grill, beautiful Rockville, Minnesota. So, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a fun day. I wasn't thinking about covering this today, but apparently everybody's like, "Oh, will you cover it?" I'm like, "Okay, sure." There is stuff that it's a very uneventful hearing, but there is a lot to talk about since then, and we could talk about, well, are there things that Aaron could do? Are there things that Aaron can't do? Are there things that help Aaron? Is Aaron boned in a lot of ways? Yeah, certainly we're going to do that, and we could take a look at all of those. And hold on here, where is that? But anyways, I want to welcome you. If you guys are new, my name's Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am a defense attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and obviously do a lot of criminal law, and kind of goes with the name. So that's what we're talking about today, because yes, Aaron Imholte has a criminal case, and today was his initial appearance on it. Now, the one thing I will bring up that people were, I talked about this before, they're like, well, why didn't he get arrested or anything like that or turn himself in? Why do that when you can surrender yourself the morning of court, walk in wearing clothes, street clothes, be arraigned wearing street clothes, and then walk out? I mean, that's the best way to do it. So it made no sense to do it any earlier. And yeah, I mean, it totally worked out the way it was going to go there. Now, for those of you who are new, Aaron is involved as part of the Nick Rekieta saga. Aaron was married to April Imholte. I don't know if she's switched her name yet or not. They got divorced. April stayed with Nick and Kayla, and Aaron went his own way. Very MGTOW of himself. Yeah, Charlie's right. You don't want to risk sitting in a cell all weekend. There's no point. There's no point doing that. It doesn't make any sense. But yes, he was the odd man out of the cover. Now, for whatever reason, whether he left or kicked out, I didn't quit. You didn't fire me, I quit. Like, well, does it really matter? Does it really matter? You left kind of a cringe situation. So let's just be real. That's what it is. You didn't fire me, I quit. Yes, you quit the swinging cuck polycule. It's like, that's not really a win. It's not really a win. So Jack says, what did he do? Well, he is accused of transmitting, basically, it would fall under the statutes of revenge pornography. And we'll get to the actual reading of the statute in a minute. But that's more or less what it is. That's, the statute's got a more specialized name, but if you're trying to figure out what exactly he did, basically he is alleged of setting nude pictures around that he didn't have permission to do. So let's get started. Well, actually, we got 5 minutes. I'm going to give people another minute. I thought we were already 5, but we'll wait another minute here. Now, guys, we're not talking, like, I get all the jokes, but I think some people were seriously questioning issues of copyright, all that other stuff. Look, it doesn't work. None of that's relevant here. I know some of you guys are making jokes, but some people have asked questions in the meantime. Like, none of that matters. This is the criminal situation. None of that matters. Also, not a defamation case. 100% not a defamation case. So that's where we are. Now, all right, so we're at the 5-minute mark. Where are we going to start with? Well, let's start with what actually happened. And to do that, we are going to rely on because the stream I can't find. It's almost like it got taken down. It's like, it's funny how that happens. It's funny how that happens when people, film themselves committing crimes. They tend to pull that stream off the air. At least I didn't find it right away. And as Stringer Bell said it best,
Nigga, is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
Yes, what the fuck is you thinking indeed? Now, to see it, and I will say I think it's rather humorous given the captioning that's placed in this as well. This is from a channel, and I really like it. I think it's hilarious here. It's Mimi's Looking Glass. And only 16 subs, guys, and it's from 4 weeks ago. But I think it was hilarious. I give them a like. But this is a basic the actual allegations here.
Oh, the
So guys, if you aren't aware, this is Aaron. This is Aaron the Steel Toe, and then this is Gino Bisconti. He obviously with Compound Media. He is Keanu Thompson's beau, if you would say. He's betrothed. I think they're getting married like sometime soon. He is Keanu's fiance. So, and these guys have a relationship, and they're talking and hanging out, and here they go. And this is from in May, right after Nick and Kayla and April got rolled up by the police.
Rosebud or whatever that was.
I just saw part of it in the mugshot. What?
Sure.
What? Come on, not say, please. And I can say this because I'm a supermodel. You know, I can judge other people. I'm just saying, not a fan of the tattoo.
Might as well leave the clip in, guys. It's kind of funny there. Might as well leave the clip in there. I can say he's a fellow supermodel
On the tip. That's all.
I mean, that's that I understand, Gino, and that's.
I'm not saying like if a hot chick like her had a tattoo on her tit, I'm like, no, yeah. Just saying, what are your thoughts on that? The big old tattoo on the tit.
Well, here, give me 1 second here.
Oh, here we go. And what is it while you're looking about that? Like Kiana has tattoos, and I don't know if you'd noticed this. Nuts about the girl, love her, greatest thing ever.
Check
like,
keep your.
What's that? But there are women I've seen that I've known over a course of time.
Now, this is here saying it totally cuts off Gino's story to prove Kayla was attracted to defend his life choices. And as Aaron's life choices include cuckoldry, which, to be fair, the whole cover was like an entire like circular firing straw of cuckoldry. Really, when you think about it, they were all cucking each other. It was kind of weird. And then drug use and child neglect, which, yes, Aaron is involved in all those. Just Aaron happens to be the cleanest turd in the toilet, as I've said before.
But there are women I've seen that I've known over a course of time that I thought they were hot and they had no tattoos. And then they got a shit ton of tattoos. And I'm like, I don't like that. I had to check my text. By the way,
did you check?
I like tattoos more than I think.
Your boy didn't do too bad, did he?
So there you go. That's the entire that's what we're looking at here, Chet. That's what we're looking at. So yes, we have somebody on there doing something with the phone. And what do we know from there? Well, as the police started investigating, once Kayla and Nick and April went to the police and sought to report it, they contacted Gino. And Gino said, yeah, Aaron sent me a pic of Kayla, Nick Ricada's wife, also Aaron Imholte's former girlfriend. And she was, at least her breasts were exposed, and you could see tattoos and everything on it. Okay, and Gino said that. And then Keanu said, yeah, Gino showed me that too. I saw the same picture. Now, are Keanu and Gino in trouble? No, they don't live in Minnesota. They live in New York City, I think, or New Jersey. They don't live in Minnesota, so it's not an issue for them. They're not in trouble. That's not a problem for it. So, what are you guys? Oh, well, you guys are going fast. So I'll catch up later. Anyway. So I know people were saying, well, what about Gino showing it to Keanu? Nope, doesn't matter. What about Gino receiving it? Receiving it's not the issue. It's transmitting it or publishing it or doing something with it. That's the problem. So Aaron was charged, and Aaron's got a couple of charges he's got to deal with here. And where did that go? So Aaron has a couple of charges here. And Aaron's 2 charges are the non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images. Oh, the doggos apparently are being good out there. That's always good to have good heckin' dogs. So it's intentionally disseminating images without consent. And in this situation, under one of these readings of the statute, it's a felony. And why? Because it's done so without the person's consent and with the intent to harass the person depicted in the image. So therefore, it's a felony because it's got a harassment. Count 2 is the same thing, intentionally disseminating images without consent. But as you notice, it's without the person's consent, but there is no issue of harassment here. But they point out that you wrongfully, unlawfully, feloniously, and intentionally disseminate an image of another person who's depicted in a sexual act where his intimate parts are exposed when the person's identifiable and without the person's consent. So that's why for Aaron, the second time around on here, it's a gross misdemeanor, and he faces up to 364 days in jail and or a $3,000 fine. So obviously, both of these aren't good because 364 days in jail would suck. Really, any days in jail would suck. But also, it sucks a lot less than a possible 3 years of imprisonment. So with those, man, you're saying he'll plead the misdemeanor. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. There are issues here that I think cut both ways. Now, Aaron did have his arraignment this morning. And if you guys were not aware, it was... Hold on one second, chat. All right, chat. So we are going to watch this. And if you guys don't remember, Court Clips actually did a very good job covering this. I was on the road doing lawyer stuff this morning. But I will say, if you guys don't remember Divinity, you'll see her name up here. This is Divinity from way back. If you guys have not subscribed, subscribe, give her a like. You know, help that channel out. Anyway, here we go. So,
we are here today for a first appearance, Mr. Imholte's rights, as well as the allegations.
I have, Judge. We waive reading.
Thank you.
So, right off the bat, Aaron's there. He's with his attorney. His attorney's speaking in the background. They're waiving a reading of his rights, and they're going to get right to it from here. So, this is... Actually, it's really good. Guys, the audio is just really... The whole audio is... I don't know. I know Ralph was listening to it and streamed it earlier live. The audio, like there's the echo. The echo, I think, is coming from their Zoom feed, like the court. It's not people listening to it. And that's not uncommon because they're going to be in a courtroom. There's going to be mics everywhere. Yeah, there's a lot of ways this is going to be kind of garbage, but we got no other choice. But I do think this is a very accurate statement here. Yes. He banged Kayla Rakeda and now has a lot of regrets. Oh, I'm sure he's got a lot of regrets. Yes. He's like, this goddamn cover. Yes, I'm sure he's got a lot of regrets here. So let's keep going.
Combined with Rule 8 today.
Judge, we agree to accept Rule 8 materials by mail, and we would ask for an omnibus hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Darlene, as to release conditions.
The state's requesting $100,000 unconditional. The court's well aware of the circumstances of this case. I do believe that the conditions as requested are appropriate, given the overall circumstances of the charges. He does also have a history of not abiding by court orders and no contact orders specifically.
Now, here's the thing. Aaron's history is that prior harassment order he got in trouble for violating. And we saw that a little while ago, like what, about a month and a half ago. He had to go into court and he had to enter a plea to misdemeanor violating a harassment order, restraining order, whatever you want to call it. So, yes, he has a history of it. Now, the history is brand new, but you know what? That's a great way to show the court you're not going to follow the rules, is you literally just violated the rules. That doesn't instill confidence in the court. You're all of a sudden going to start following the rules. So Aaron's got that issue now. And the bond being $100,000, yeah, you know what? That's twice what Nick's was. Do I think that it should have been that high? No. But do I see that it would be more than Nick's in most other situations? Yes. Because Nick had a drug offense. But Aaron's got an allegation of harassment of people. And he's got a prior brand new conviction of harassing and violating a harassing order. So those are red flags for courts. Now, does it make sense as $100,000? No, I think that's a bit fucking ridiculous. But also, hey, $50,000 is ridiculous too, but that's Minnesota for you. But anywhere, if you came to Ohio when you had this issue and you got charged with violating a protection order and you pled out to it, and then weeks later you got charged with something like this, yeah, it's going to look bad. It doesn't look good. It never looks good, chat. So having a bond with restrictive conditions attached to it, that's also not uncommon either. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
And violates them via an online broadcast.
I thought
So
she
that
would bring that up.
he does have an HRO in place protecting a different individual. He recently was sentenced for an HRO violation. Did look up case law regarding a condition specifically regarding this. I could not find anything on point in Minnesota specifically, but I did find a Second Circuit Court of Appeals case where a similar condition was imposed. The Second Circuit Court of Appeals did find that it would not violate freedom of speech as it was reasonably related to the nature and circumstances of the offense. Additionally, I would ask for this to be held within time.
I don't know who's talking in the background, guys. Sorry. I can't. I don't know. That's somebody on when this is being recorded.
And I believe Mr. Peterson and I both are requesting that be in person.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. As to release conditions.
Judge, it's my understanding that my client has a single misdemeanor conviction concerning a harassment restraining order. I say this for context concerning the severity of charges compared to other more severe charges. My client is a homeowner and has lived in Minnesota all his life. He's 37 years of age and divorced with 3 school-aged children. He has an associate arts degree from Brown College and is the owner of Steel Toe Media. He advises me he has no felony record, no record of crimes of violence, with the exception of the single misdemeanor HRO that the prosecutor mentioned. This matter went out as a complaint warrant very recently. He retained me on Friday, and we had a plan for him to turn himself in this morning so we could address conditions of release. I would suggest that the request for $100,000 unconditional bail is excessive.
Now, Josh Moy says reading his resume. Well, this is how it works. When you're trying to explain to a judge, hey, don't set my bond high. Why? Well, why should I give you a lower bond? I have a home. I live in the community. I have children, my job, all these things that tie me to the community. If you're, like the president of this, that, and the other, you have very strong ties to the community. All the reasons why they're concerned about you not showing up to court, you alleviate them of those reasons. That's why, for example, when Nick had his bond argument, he just said, oh, I challenge it on the 8th Amendment because it's just really high and violates the 8th Amendment. Well, he didn't say, like, Your Honor, look, I live here in the county. I've lived here for 15 years or however long it is. I own a home. I have a rental property here. You know, my family lives here. I have 5 kids. They go to church here. They go to school here. I've had no other interactions with the criminal justice system. I have, you know, other than traffic tickets. Like, that's the stuff you point out. You're giving the court a reason to lower your bond. So, yes, it is. It is how you do this. You're basically arguing your resume. You're trying to convince the judge, hey, judge, give this guy a break. So, yeah, it is a resume, but yes, you have to. Otherwise, you just go, please, judge, it's really high. That doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help at all. So you have to give reasons. Yeah, my in-laws live in the community. Yes. Yeah, this is the stuff, like, you know, Nick should have done at his hearing, but he didn't do. He might have gotten a lower bond. J-Rock says, Your Honor, my client can post 200 half-price drink tickets for Stoney's Bar and Grill as bond. Now, somebody did bring up an issue about him posting his house. You can post houses and other collateral types of property for bond. The thing is, you have to own them. And I bet Aaron's probably got a mortgage on his house, so he doesn't own it. And it wouldn't be, so that'd be a problem. So that's a problem there. Waking East says seems wildly excessive. It is, but in Minnesota, you've got this also issue of you have the 2 options. You can either pay or you get released on, you could do unconditional or conditional bond. And I have a feeling that's also part of the reason why you see some outlandish types of bonds, like Nick's bond and this bond. They're both outlandish, but they also would then say on the other breath, well, you could just take the conditional and pee in a cup all the time. Why don't we just, like, bring it all down and then, you know, not drag people in to have to pee in a cup? That's a thought. That's a thought. Or just abolish cash bond fucking completely. That's a thought, like Illinois does. There is no more cash bond. If you get held, if you're a dangerous threat, if not, we release you on conditions. It's not a bad idea. Because otherwise, there are people who are in jail. They can't post a $500 bond. Even with 10%, they don't got $50. Well, yes, stop committing crimes live on YouTube. But yes, but that's a separate matter. We'll get back to that.
And while we agree that harassing comments are inappropriate, I know this has to be balanced with a person's constitutional right to fair speech and any free speech, and any prohibition on speech should be narrowly tailored. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson.
Mhm.
I've read the complaint. I reviewed the allegations. I think because what the court is most interested in ensuring here is that Mr. Imholte understands and is going to abide by the court's orders to not harass or have any contact with the alleged victim here. I do think that substantial monetary bail, which if posted would not come with the same conditions, is necessary to ensure that he continues to make court appearances and continues to follow the court's orders moving forward. So I do think some substantial unconditional bail is appropriate. I'll set that at $75,000. In the alternative, he can be released today without having to post any monetary bail, but he is to abide. He is to remain law-abiding. He is to make future court appearances. He is to keep in contact with his attorney. He is to keep the court updated of any change in his address. He is not to leave the state of Minnesota without permission of corrections. He is to not have any contact with the alleged victim in this case, KCR. He is to stay 500 feet away from her residence. The court is also going to order that he abide by all active harassment restraining orders, and also that he is to not have any indirect communication with KCR, which would include making disparaging comments specifically about her or harassing her on any medium, which would include in person, over the telephone, text message, online, social media, or broadcast through any podcasts or similar online shows. The court does believe that that restriction on simply not mentioning KCR is narrowly tailored to relate specifically to the rights and safety of the alleged victim in this case. So I will impose that condition as requested by the state. We'll set this for an omnibus. It will be an in-person hearing. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Anything additional?
All right. So he does have bond conditions. One of them is he can't talk about Kayla. Can't mention her name. Can't talk about her. He can't go like, he can't say like, oh, he can't go on Steel Toe tomorrow and be like, well, I can't, you know, that Schmela lady, or that, you know, insert whatever. You can't do that. You can't say that woman in Spicer, or that chick I used to bang, or you can't refer to her as, you know, anything you want to think about. You can't do it if it's clearly referring to her. He can't talk about her. I've had these types of things before. You know, people, it's not that they have like internet shows or radio shows or anything like that, but they'll go on Facebook and talk about a party. And you have to explain to them, you need to pretend like they're dead. They're gone. They don't exist anymore. You don't talk about them. Now, that's going to be tough. I think this is going to be this is going to be tough for Aaron, because if he wants to go talk shit about Nick or April, it's going to be really fucking easy for him to step over that line and talk about Kayla. I guarantee you. I guarantee you it's going to happen. That's going to be tough for Aaron. So, I mean, Aaron's going to have to shut the fuck up about the whole thing. Maybe. He's going to have to talk about other stuff, which I'm not sure, you know, I mean, I think even Aaron recognized, like, well, that's a big draw for me. So he's really going to have to be mindful of what he says, or he's going to fucking rake himself, which I'm willing to bet he's going to do. I'm willing to bet he's going to do. And that is a narrowly tailored restriction. They're not saying can't talk about Nick, can't talk about April. Nope. Just saying can't talk about the one person who filed the complaint or came to the police with the complaint.
No, Your Honor.
Demanding speedy?
We are not demanding speedy, Judge. I discussed this issue with my client, and we want to thoroughly review and investigate the case.
All right, thank you. We'll set this matter without regard to time at this point.
The state is asking for it to be within time. And if there's any specific conflicts, Mr. Peterson and I can discuss with the court clerk.
We'll note the state speedy request, and then the next hearing date will be set in coordination with counsel.
Now, that's interesting, because the state's saying, his attorney's like, no, we'll take our time. And prosecutor goes, well, actually, we can do it right away. Now, are they doing that because they think this is like, they're truly scared of, like, oh my God, we really believe Kayla's scared of Aaron here? I don't know. Who knows what they're doing that? We're going to have to see. She asked about a speedy time to get to the omnibus hearing and get to all those hearings there. Jeff W. says, would there be any benefit to demand a speedy trial? Not yet. His attorney hasn't even gotten discovery yet, so I'd be very careful about doing that. There are times where you tactically can force a speedy trial to happen, and that causes a lot of problems for the state. And they might scramble to get things together. They might cut you a deal. Sometimes they'll dismiss because you're running them out of time. This is it's all tactics. And there's sales and there's also tactical considerations. In this situation, I don't think there is a benefit to forcing a speedy trial right now, because they've already got what they need. They're not waiting on reports or testing. I don't see any benefit to necessarily going forward on speedy trial. I think that would actually probably not be the most advised. I think it'd be rather ill-advised. Say, Wabu's saying, can he change the judge for Judge what the hell's her name? Fisher out in Candiota County. No, this is in a different county. This is Stearns County, Minnesota. This is where Aaron lives. So no, you can't do that. Now, you guys are bringing up all these points like Aaron's being silenced, or what's the other one here? Paige saying this is what I did to shut him up. Sure, okay. He also broke the fucking law, it appears. So using the legal process legitimately can have tertiary benefits to someone. Not only is Kayla punishing and going after Aaron for allegedly sending nudes, but she can also get him to shut the fuck up. Now, granted, that might be Nick trying to tactically do something there. Sure, it could be. But you know what? That's a tertiary benefit. That's not the primary benefit. That's lawfare, guys. That's how the game's played. What can you do to fuck the other guy over? Welcome to it. Welcome to it. Now, this is where just cause. This is something I've heard people talk about now. Now, let's talk about things Aaron could probably bring up. Because one of the issues here is the issue of consent. And that's with both parts of the statutes talk about the lack of consent. And this is something, I don't know if I haven't listened to Nate or Kurt or anybody else today. I don't think that... Why the hell is this? Thank you for coming back up. All right. When you talk about the consent issues, hold on here. That's why it all comes in one big box. There we go. All right. So you have the consent issues without the person's consent and without the person's consent down here. You're trying to say, and I get what the argument is here. Oh, well, hey, there's a picture of Kayla showing her ass. All right. Then there's the bottle pictures. And then the other pictures that are up on locals. Yeah, that's an argument to make. You have a bit of an issue. It's like 2 years ago. Casito was how far back? It was a while ago. And then Bottlegate. And not the one that started the war in the Balkans. But the Bottlegate pictures. How long were those from? It's not like she just took those last month or in the past 6 months. They're old. A person might change how they feel about things since then. I know there are people who are trying to show, oh, look, there was a comment on locals. Yeah, that was back then too. So it's like 2 years old. It's not really fresh anymore. It's not relevant. I mean, it's got some level of relevancy, but it's not good. It's not valid. It's not a certified fresh hood single. So what have you done recently? What do you have right now that's showing that there might be lack of consent? That's the big thing. That's where you're going to have the issues, I think, trying to bring that up. If I was a prosecutor, I'd object on relevancy issues. This is from 2 years ago. So even if he had it, I don't know what it does. Now, I don't know how this will... And something I thought about, because technically these are sexual images. Does this count as sexual sexual conduct? Because if it does, we might have like a rape shield issue. Because bringing up her prior acts of, you did all this stuff before. You were an exhibitionist before, but now you're not. That could possibly get triggered here. Although issues of consent are one of the 3 ways you could generally circumvent like rape shield laws. I don't know if that would apply here. I don't know Minnesota's laws well enough to know would this consider it or fall into it. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but someone asked me about that, and I think it's something to think about. But ultimately, Aaron's got a big problem trying to drag those in because they're old. They're not new. Doesn't mean he can't, but that's not enough to hang your hat on. Burr says, but her prior acts of being in a 4-way relationship. Okay, but that's so what? They were in a 4-way picture sharing group. They can make an argument. We wanted to limit it to that group. And as she said in the complaint here, I even think she says that. Yeah, okay. The purpose of the app was to keep things private amongst each other and all agree nothing would be shared to others. Now, remember, that's Kayla just saying it. And, you know, depending on who you want to believe as far as legal things are concerned, either these are all lies, this whole thing is a lie, or a more rational and nuanced and reasonable person would say, there might be something to talk about in here. Like, what are these things? You know, and that's where it takes somebody who's got some experience at this saying, well, the purpose is to keep things private, and they all agreed. Okay. Were there any other leaks? Did it ever happen before? That might be something that's relevant. How did that happen? What was the reaction to it? Who did it? That would be important because this whole thing here, the whole cover thing, that all started since the comedy show. So that would be relevant. That would work here. Now, there are some things that are helpful for Aaron, and one of them is it's not the ultimate end all be all. But I do think some of the comments that are out there so this is something I think that may help.
Nope, I'm saying.
So this is Gino, and this is Gino talking.
I'm going to tell you right now. When she says I'm taking up from him, I'm going to tell you right now. They're all 4 fucking idiots. But Aaron is the worst of them. Aaron's not the worst of them. They're all the worst of them. But Aaron is further along the I fucked up timeline. Now, April, for some reason, thinks she's like, oh, well, you know, I'm a victim. You're a stupid cunt. And you should not be living with a guy.
Okay. This part is not help. This isn't the part Aaron can utilize.
And his wife and their 5 kids. Period. But before I put the period, I'm gonna erase the period and be like, with a guy and his wife and 5 kids after you swapped wives with them. Period. But now I'm gonna erase the period and be like, with a guy and his wife and their 5 kids after you swapped wives and did cocaine with them. Period. Now,
still, none of this is not helpful here.
I'm gonna erase a period and say, with a guy and his wife and their 5 kids after you got caught doing cocaine with them and had guns in the house. Period. Now, you understand? They're all fucks. And anyone that doesn't go out of their way to stop the cops from calling me or Keanu and saying, hey, what's going on? You're a cunt. And if you think I'm worried about losing friends over this because you're a stupid cunt, Nick, Lady Rackets, and April, and you're fucking bitter because fucking, what's his name? Aaron, who's a stupid fuck, got out first? No one's better. No one's worse. And I'll tell you, no one deserves this less than me or Keanu. So cut it. But if
now, why don't we bring this up? It's not a very cooperative witness, which we try to serve him with subpoena. Well, he's out of state. Hey, Mr. Visconti, will you come in? Can we interview you to get ready? Fuck you. Will you testify at trial? Fuck you. I'm not showing up. That's kind of bad. It's kind of bad. It's more his comments, the context of his comments, not necessarily the comments themselves. This doesn't make Kayla's claims less likely or less probable or more probable. It just shows us a very hostile witness that is part of your foundation here. Hey, Runkle, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Now, this is not of the things here. There's a... Why is this... Okay, that's why I was having problems. Oh, I gotta remove this whole thing. That's why it's fighting me. Sorry, guys, just boomering myself here. All right. The second video of Keanu and Gino talking, I think also does stuff here. Now, this one...
Aaron's off.
A piece of shit.
Right.
Yeah. A
But
real
April.
piece of shit.
April.
I'm not doing this. No.
Why can't you just take our
She
side?
has kept her fucking mouth shut and whatever.
No.
Dragging us into this, that's not dragging us into this.
Yes, it is.
Kayla Ricada reported a crime.
No one cares about her.
Okay.
In our world.
Why? It's no skin off your nose. Listen,
Why
I
do I have
snitched.
lint in
I
my
snitched.
mouth?
I snitched.
No
I
one's.
did.
You did not.
I would love to be the snitch. I snitched.
But
I'm
you
the first
did
one
not.
that.
Why
I'm
are you?
So, once again, this is just more of... And where is... Dang it, the one I wanted to show. Hold on here. Where's the thing here? Hold on. So, one of the clips that I'm trying to find, where the hell did it go? The one I wanted to really show you guys here. Okay, this is the one I wanted to show. This one here is, it's not like a silver bullet for Aaron, but it's going to cause some issues because it does show things that the attorneys and the prosecutor might want to know about, like who's been talking and what have they been talking about.
In a year from now, watch this. Ready for this? Aaron's going to be back on his feet. Where's April going to be?
Wait.
No.
Okay.
Watch this. Write
I'm
it
not
down.
playing this game. No.
No, watch this. A year from now, Aaron will be, if I know him, he's a mess. He'll be like, wow. And he'll play off it. He'll laugh at it because he needs to. April will still be like, I don't know how that happened. Because she's a dumb
Who
cunt.
cares? Who cares?
I care. Because she literally had the cops call us.
No. Kayla Ricada
So April had nothing to do with
reported
it.
a crime.
No. Well, who'd we get a text from on my phone?
Kayla Ricada does not have our number.
This is where it gets interesting.
No. Well, who'd we get a text from on my phone?
Kayla Ricada does not have our numbers. Anyway,
Who did I get a text from on my
I'm
phone?
done with this.
So, who'd they get a text from? What was that text about? Are the witnesses in this situation contacting each other? What did they do? What did they arrange? What did they say? That might be something important. That might be something important. That might be something important. Now, will I use that? Would they use that? I don't know. Would I use that as his attorney? Sure. Hey, what are these people? What are they doing? Prosecutor, these are your witnesses, including Gino. Without Gino, they're going to have what exactly is the case here? I mean, they have Aaron's statements. They have Aaron doing something on screen, sure. But they still need Gino. And Poe here is bringing up a question, and I'll get to the super chats in a second. To elevate the harassment, they would need proof. If Aaron deletes past videos, does it get the same argument Nick is trying? No original, no proof. Makes sense to Nick? No. And also, that could be evidence tampering, so don't delete videos. What's there is there. And if Aaron's listening, he needs to listen to his fucking attorney. Really. Don't do anything until you talk to your attorney about it. this is where the other thing people are saying, well, if the picture's gone, how does anybody able to testify to anything? Eyewitness testimony is evidence. It's good enough. The witness saw something. That's evidence. I saw a picture of Kayla Ricada with her tits hanging out, and it was sent to me by Aaron. That's evidence. That's evidence of something happening. Is it as good as here's all the data and we could track from this phone to that phone and here's everything connecting? Well, no, that's the best. That's the best evidence. That's the perfect evidence. But the witness saying something happened and recollecting that to the jury or to the judge, whoever the finder of fact is going to be, is fine. It works. I mean, think about it. If you were on the street and you got robbed by a guy and he pulled out a knife and said, "Give me your money," and he took off and ran. But by the time the police catch him, he doesn't have a knife anymore and he just has your wallet. You're like, okay, great. But he's going to say, I didn't do that. He said he gave me that guy's going to say, you gave me the wallet. Well, what's the evidence? Well, the evidence is your statement. No, that guy waved a knife at me and told me to give me my wallet or he'd kill me. So yes, eyewitness testimony is evidence. Because otherwise, if you went into court and said, oh, he tried to rob me, well, by that logic, we can't believe you because you're eyewitness testimony. Now, it's up to a jury. They would have to weigh it, and they ought to determine its credibility. So, for example, they're going to have to determine the credibility of Gino. They're going to have to determine the credibility of Keanu. They're going to have to determine the credibility of Kayla, and Nick and April or any other witness. And now those ones especially. The cop, as much like Nick thinks all the cops are always lying all the time, I'm willing to bet the cops here, like, yeah, these people came to me, I took a report, and then I called Gino and Keanu because they sent it to me. I mean, Nick, like I said, I know you think cops lie. I'm willing to go on a limb here and assume they were telling the truth on what they did. But all those people, the jury's going to have to, determine who's credible and what part of their testimony is credible, what's believable, some of it, all of it, none of it. And then they can assign weight to that evidence. Is that evidence of enough weight to sustain a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt? Don't know. But I'm just saying this is the issue here. Here are your witnesses. Here are your people. April, Nick, Kayla, Giano. I wonder if they call them. Do you think they call them? Do they call themselves that? Like, do they have a pet name or like they merge all together? Giano, Keanu, and Gino. Those are going to be your witnesses. You're kind of stuck with what you have there. $75K Goal says there's not going to be a trick, dummy. Aaron will take a plea because it's an ironclad case. Oh, I'm not saying there is a trick. I'm just saying, what can you do? How will it work? Now, the one thing I do think that helps Aaron here, whether or not they're going to offer a misdemeanor to start with, is the language of... Oh, why is this fucking thing still up? There. Is here. This part here, he says, your boy didn't do too bad, did he? And he said it to Gino. I think that gives Aaron the ability to say this wasn't done with the intent to harass. Aaron was trying to showboat. Or say, hey, look what I got. Now, there are other things Aaron has said previously where Aaron's screaming and hollering into the camera at Nick and Kayla. But I think here he can make the argument this point in time, was not meant to be harassing. I was showing it to one guy, and I didn't show it to the world. I don't know how good a jury would buy that argument, but it is interesting that I think this is a fairly exculpatory comment, and it was included in the report and the complaint. I think that's interesting in that regard. I think it's interesting. And Content Lasagna says, but can't you showboat and harass at the same time? I think so. I think you can. I don't think it's impossible. But what is a jury going to look at? How is that going to happen? I don't know. His attorney's going to know better for that area than I do. Here, do I think a jury would look at it and say, yeah, you were probably showboating and you were showing off, so were they convicted of the misdemeanor? I think you'd probably get that. Do I think the felony? That one's going to be a tougher sell. That one's going to be a tougher sell. That one will be a tougher sell. And before we get too far, guys, like I said, with limited commercial interruption, tonight we are brought to you. Why won't the freaking overlay add up? Tonight, chat, we are brought to you by Stoney's Bar and Grill in beautiful Rockville, Minnesota, at 1580 Broadway Street. Stoney's! Have a hard day out on the tiers, getting through your arraignment without getting shivved or sexually assaulted in the shower. Well, then you need to come to Stoney's, where you can have a nice cold beer, chat. That's what you can do there at Stoney's. It is open right now. They are open. They are open till 10 p.m. tonight, so 2 more hours. Get that beer in you and have a nice day. They have dining. They have outdoor seating still. The patio's open. And getting ready, guys. They have events this weekend on the 7th and the 8th, including a bike ride that's going to be a memorial ride. It's out there. It's going to be a great time. Going to be a great party. And yes, they were even open normal hours on Labor Day. What a hell of a place. Being open for you to take care of you on your Labor Day, helping parch your thirst. So go to Stoney's, celebrating 30 years. Okay, now let's see here. Maddie B says for 1 month, so you can't quit me, Nick. Matthew McManus for $9.99 says Nick's somehow always more pathetic than Aaron, which is a very low bar. Real funny and weird. Well, I mean, like, they're all pathetic in their own way. I mean, like, let's not mince words. Just Joy says Minneapolis Fox 9 wrote an article and did a live report on Aaron today. Yes, he did. Yes, they did. That's funny. That reporter is asking around about, like, could someone please tell me what's going on here? And I'm like, oh shit, are you in for a surprise? The Pie Baker says, how long till Crackett's co-host with Jam at 69 for 69? Yeah, I don't know. Is he still doing that? Is he still doing that with Jack? Is Jack Murphy still doing that? Mario Kart 13 says, it's starting to look like the deep floors that Keanu wanted to swing with April, but didn't want to swing with the other 3. Where the fuck are you getting that from? Okay. That came out of left field. Stephen Bravo says, GNR told the police Aaron said the pick. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But there's a problem. The police can't come up there and say, well, Aaron told us. That's hearsay. So they need Aaron to confirm it. That they would need, I'm sorry, not Aaron. They would need Gino as a witness to help confirm, yes, that's what happened. Gino just telling the police over the phone, like in a phone interview, yeah, that's what happened. That's enough to get, like, charges filed. That's not enough for a conviction. That's a hearsay issue. Big hearsay issue. Uncle Paul Harrell has passed away. It's official. Oh, Mr. Sniper. Oh, sorry, Paul. Rest in peace, Uncle Paul. Rip to a real one. If you guys don't know, he is Google Paul Harrell here on YouTube. One of the only, like, YouTube gun channels is really cool because he had 2 self-defense shootings and went 2-0. Not getting convicted on either or indicted. And pray times 12 or pray for the X12. Not sure. Could be either. Says, sent you a couple of things you're going to go through. Sent you a couple of things that you're going through now that shows Gino might not have known that Keanu was helping Nick get the tow through April. Where did you send them? Because you're saying you sent them. So, okay, there we go. That's Say, Sean, have watched Kino Casino last piece? No, I have not. So, Fear the Chain says, if we all had mental asylums, this wouldn't be happening. They'd all be in them. Yeah, they might be. They all might be in a mental asylum in one form or another. So we will see about that. We will see about that. Now, what else do I have here? Now, looking at the rest of what happened for Aaron's case so far, guys, because you can look it up. You guys are wondering how you can do that. You come here to the Minnesota court records online. You can do the record search, you can do a case search. And if you have it here, you can use the case number. And you'll scroll down to the bottom and you do case details. And then if you come down here, if you're wondering where people are getting all the documents, this is where things are. So, for example, he has interim conditions. He has post bail or bond with no conditions, $75,000. Release with zero conditions. Or I'm sorry, release with conditions for $0. And those conditions are the ones you heard before. You have to remain law abiding. You have to make all future court appearances, maintain contact with your attorney. Can't leave the state without written approval. Keep your attorney informed of your current address. Contact the probation officer as directed because he's going to be on pretrial release. So that's supervised through probation departments. And why is it supervised through probation? Because they already have a probation department. It makes sense. No contact with the victims. Don't enter the victim's residence. Okay, well, yes, don't go to the Baldo bunker. Stay a reasonable distance away from the Baldo bunker. Now, we have all the things that happened here. So we get all the way to the bottom. So this is when everything was filed last week. And then we have the discovery disclosures. And the disclosures are the disclosures from the prosecution. Now, what is that? We went over this a little bit in Nick's case here. So this is the discovery disclosures. It just talks about what they're giving up and what they're putting in the case. So obviously, state of Minnesota versus Aaron. What are they going to do? They have witnesses. Yes. They have trial witnesses and they have other persons. Do they have grand jury witnesses? No, but this didn't go to the grand jury. Statements relating to the case. Yes, they are written and recorded and they have summaries of oral statements. They have physical evidence. They have documents and tangible objects. They have Aaron's criminal history. They have exculpatory information, which once again, I wonder what they have. So there's exculpatory information. Now, the prosecutor at this point hasn't dropped the case. So there might be exculpatory information, but how exculpatory is it? It's going to depend on that. Obviously, the prosecutor doesn't think it's that important. And that other information, I don't know what other information is. But this one is interesting. What is exculpatory? I'd be very curious to know, and hopefully we find out at some point. But for right now, we won't. Jim is saying the prosecutor is a total political fanatic. She will not drop this. Well, prosecutors are generally loath to drop cases anyway. That's a very normal thing. They don't like dropping things. They think that, well, the charges were filed. We got to this point. It must be legitimate. George Floyd lived in Minnesota. So what's Aaron going to do here? What's the toes options? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Does Aaron have options? Maybe. But it's going to be up to him and his attorney to go through what's out there. The exculpatory is her text saying, send my titties forth, brother. Well, maybe. There's something that, who knows? Who really knows? Jim saying he has to take a deal. He's likely going to take some sort of a deal. I don't see enough ways for him to poke holes in the ship and sink it. So yeah, he's going to have to take some sort of deal. Like I said, I think he qualifies for the misdemeanor at the end of the day. Now, people are asking, because he has the misdemeanor, what's going to happen to his other charges? Well, remember, he's on probation. So what does that do for him? Well, typically when you get new charges while you're on probation, you're toast. Aaron's case, these aren't there. It's a new filing, but it's not new criminal activity. And that's a distinction that routinely gets made. I make it all the time because otherwise, if you got penalized and finally charged with old criminal activity, like, how is that fair if you're already on probation now and I get charged with a crime I did 3 years ago and they now bring it up? How's that fair to somebody who's on probation doing what they're supposed to do? It's not. Now, they're going to have to answer for what they did, but for the probation to not turn around and punish them, well, that makes sense. That's a fair shake in the system. So Aaron, yeah, he has like 90 days of jail time hanging over him. That's not going to kick in here. Now, the court here, if they're sentencing him, they're looking at the 364 days. They're going to see this 90 days hanging out there. And look, Aaron still went and did some shithead things. So what's the court going to do? The court could look at it and say, okay, fuck this guy. Here's 9 months. Here's 6 months. Here's whatever. So that's why you don't commit crimes, guys. They build up and the court starts to fucking hate you. And very quickly it will. Can always play spades and eat bagged chili for a while. Yeah. Aaron will come out. Aaron's going to come out like jacked like American History X. Just come out with just clover leaves and shamrocks everywhere. Aaron's going to run like, see this? This means not welcome here. Domo Agro says, don't pick fights with psychopaths. That's a bit of an issue there. Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah. When somebody's out there going to messaging your girlfriend to say, hey, did you know your boyfriend calls you this? You don't know me, but I'm just saying. It's like, yeah, you have to be careful. You want to play games with people, you better be prepared for the games they're going to play. And I don't think Aaron was prepared. Well, now he knows. He learned in a very valuable and expensive way. But hey, sometimes his failure is there for us to notice. You know, sometimes that guy's stepping on landmine. Okay, well, now you know, I'm not going to walk right there. So, silver linings for you. Silver linings for you. Katie Kennedy says, clear retribution for being a witness. Could this be witness intimidation? No. I think that's going to be very tough because it's a crime. Now, if they had gone to the police and made up a bullshit story and then the police were investigating, sure. But the idea you can't prosecute, like once you're a witness for a crime, that you have this immunity, because that's what it would create really in the situation, Katie. That wouldn't work. Society would not want that idea because that would give you basically de facto immunity for prosecution till the case is over. And let's say it's something like George Floyd's case. Like what? A year and a half long, 2 years long? 2 years where you can't be charged with a crime because it might look like police and witness intimidation. Especially like, let's say, for example, like in Derek Chauvin's situation where one of the defendant's a cop. Well, if the cops arrest you, is that witness intimidation? No, it wouldn't work that way. You committed a crime, you should be punished for it. You should be held responsible for it. I get what you're saying here, but you have to think about it that way. No, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. Brian is saying, if Aaron destroyed his phone and got it replaced after his warrant was issued, can he be charged with destruction of evidence? Potentially. I mean, it depends on what they're looking at. Do they want it? I don't know. I would never recommend destroying it. I mean, you can hide things. That's because you can unhide stuff. If you break something, you can't unbreak it. What you really need to do, though, is speak to an attorney in your area, and he can advise you. But I'd be very careful about destroying stuff. Remember, Hillary Clinton could pull the game where they smash a fucking phone and they say, "Oh, we smashed phones and threw them away. We wiped it with bleach bit." There are people who can get away with stuff like that. Not you. Not you. And the ultimate issue is, and this is something I will say, because this is one thing I noticed, because I had a couple of cases when I was doing some prosecutor work. You know, there are two types of people generally who destroy evidence: stupid people and bad guys. Are you a bad guy? No. Well, if you're a stupid person, that's not good either. So, you know, you have to be careful about when you're dicking around with stuff. Be careful. If it just happens to fall off a boat, well, yes, we live in an accident-prone world. We do. You have to be smart about it. AM says, can't he just say he had permission and becomes her word with his with no evidence? I mean, it could be, but then it just becomes, why didn't he show anybody else? I think that's going to be an argument there. And I don't know if that's going to sell as far as it goes. Like, oh, I had permission to do it. She told me I could do it. Well, where? Was there a text? No. When? When did she say this? Yeah, and Kayla comes up there and says no. I mean, who's going to be more credible? It's a battle of credibility at that point. And you have to be very careful. Can you win that battle? And that's where it comes up, putting things together, finding out information about the witness. Can you sandbag them? That's a dangerous one. I mean, are you willing to risk 3 years in prison over that? Are you willing to risk 3 years in prison? You can convince a jury that you're more credible? Because the jury could say, no, she's more credible. They could say, fuck you both. Or they could say, yeah, Aaron is more credible. Two of those aren't helpful to you. Raketamine says, is Aaron the cock more credible or the drugged out ghoul cunt that abuses her children? Well, remember, that's a relevance issue. That's not going to be relevant here. That's not going to be a relevancy issue. I mean, well, it's going to be a relevancy issue. Objection, relevance. Whether or not she has done something. Remember, she hasn't been convicted of any of that at that. Presumably, if Aaron goes to trial, she has not been convicted of any of that. So what's the relevance here? She stands accused of a crime. Well, okay. Well, I stand accused of it. I didn't do it. AM says her and Nick had the public nude pictures when they go against them. No, like I said, those are old. It's not like they're 20 years old, but they're like, what, 2 years old? The Hito pictures are like 2 years old. And like Bottlegate, like we said, you guys know, it's like what, 18 months to 2 years old as well. They're not good anymore. They're not relevant. I mean, they are relevant. I'm not gonna lie. They are relevant. They have some probative value. But how much probative value do they have? Do they make it more likely or less likely that this crime occurred? Establishing that. That's how you have to look at it. It's from 2 years ago. How much more or less likely does it make it this thing occurred or didn't occur? You have to answer that question. The answer is not a lot. It doesn't. That's not going to move the needle as much as you think it will. Katie says, how is any agreement binding when they're all high as fuck? Oh, I get what you're saying. Like, is this a binding contract? It's not a binding contract in the sense of, you know, like, oh, yes, good saw. I shall sign here. No. It's an agreement that we're going to just share pictures with each other because we're in this little four-way fucking suck. Because that's the other thing, though. I mean, you're going to have to, you know, Nick, that's going to have to come out. Why are we sharing pictures with each other? I mean, you're going to have to establish some relationship. You're going to have to establish the intimacy and the idea that this shouldn't be done, because otherwise we got this guy's banging Nick Recada's wife. Okay, well, he's just some dude. No, he's more than a dude. He's part of the cover. You know, he's part of the polycule. So, yeah, there's a lot of parts you have to consider here. things have to be, because remember, you have to explain why. You have to show there's that intimacy. She didn't give consent, and it was meant to be just between the four of them. You have to show that, and you're going to have to show that there is this kind of ring around it. And by telling everybody about it, you're going to have, that's how you establish the ring. So it's a bit of a problem. Margot says, are only 17 people liking this stream? That's a pretty high number. They know what, they know the value they're getting out of this, Margot. Matty Beat says, can Sean say fucking suck 5 times fast? No, I'm good. Roscoe says, can Nick take civil action for Aaron breaking the cuck NDA? Oh, I mean, if there was an NDA and he actually signed it, yes, Nick could take action against them for breaking it. I think that'd be highly ill-advised because now you're going to have to get into court and discovery would be really bad and embarrassing. But I think Aaron didn't sign anything from Nick, so I don't think that matters. Who do I think Nick is going to replace Aaron with on the cover band? I don't know. There might be tryouts. There might be tryouts. It's going to be open tryouts. I heard the 5K is going to be the chat taking Aaron's spot in the cover. Well, that's all of the chat. All of the chat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Martino Co. Garcia. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that there. Sorry. It says, what if a non-consensual nude of a celebrity is leaked and I show it to a friend? Is that a crime? At that point, no, because you're already leaking something that's already been leaked out there. That's different. So, like, if you, God, I feel old talking about, I know the fappening, the first big celebrity nude leaks that happened because they were all storing their nudes on iCloud, like Jennifer Lawrence, all those people. Well, yeah, whoever, stole all that material is in trouble, but once it's out there, no, you're not in trouble for it anymore. It's kind of like the Pentagon Papers. You're not in trouble at that point. Whoever had them and stole them and leaked them was in trouble. Godiva says they shared a common interest in art. Oh. Yes, that's... Hold on. Let me see here. Just between the four of them, the number is already whiter than her. Oh no, that's not fair. That's not nice. A blue turquoise ring. Well, that's Ola Kyle says, do you think they touch tips? I don't know. There's a lot of weird vibes. There are all kinds of vibes out of this chat. It's sussy. The entire thing is sussy. It's sussy all around. Man, it's sussier than a piece of Chernobyl graphite. It is just, you don't want to touch it. Hold on. So we got something from my producer here. So here we go. Do you think they touch tips? I mean, that's the danger when you're playing those games. Lily says it's on YouTube, Fox Minneapolis. Really? Hold on. Oh, you're saying, okay. Oh my God. Here we go. No, my, is Nick texting my producer? No, he doesn't have her number. And holy shit, she'd probably tell him to fuck off. Wait, Fox 9, Minnesota. Yeah, here we go. Let's go look, chat. This should be interesting. Let's see what they're talking about. Oh, yeah, guys. Real quick while we're here, I guess just so you guys know, we're not going to show it, but
Hi, everyone. Let me get right.
real quick, it says Paul Harrell, I'm dead. Yeah, Paul Harrell's dead. So, yeah, Paul Harrell, I'm dead. Sorry. It's official, chat. It's official. Rest in peace, Uncle Paul. Fox 9, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Let's go there. Okay, this should be interesting. Mark Gato says, whom? Paul Harrell is a gun YouTuber, and he had a lot of really neat, like he's a boomer, but he had a lot of good knowledge and killed a couple people and got away with it. So he's really good for resources on stuff. So here we go. Here we go.
A local podcaster is now facing charges for something he allegedly did while live streaming his show. Aaron Imholte is the host of the Steel Toe Morning Show that has been on the air for at least a decade. Fox 9's Karen Scullin joins us now to explain what is happening here. Karen?
37-year-old Aaron Imholte made his first court appearance this morning for disseminating private sexual images without consent. But he appeared to do this while actually live streaming.
I bet you thought I wasn't coming. Welcome to the show. It's me.
It's 37-year-old Aaron Imholte, the host of the Steel Toe Morning Show, a YouTube podcast with about 13,000 subscribers. But one of Imholte's May shows has him in some legal trouble. He was reported for sending a photo of a naked woman that he knows to a person joining him on the podcast. That woman reported the situation to police, and now Imholte faces.
Oh, wow. That's how it got reported? Woo! Nick, you guys, the cover dodged a fucking, 16-inch battleship shell just going... Wow. Wow, they got lucky on that one. Wow. Jeez. Bullet dodged, Nick. Bullet dodged.
Criminal charges.
Did you check?
I like tattoos more than I think.
Your boy didn't do too bad, did he?
And those words are now part of a criminal complaint against Imholte. The court documents describe.
Oh, hold on. I got to put it back. Sorry, guys.
A relationship breakdown between Imholte and three criminal charges.
Did you check?
I like tattoos more than I think.
Your boy didn't do too bad, did he?
And those words are now part of a criminal complaint against Imholte. The court documents describe a relationship.
That's funny, though. It's going to be... Okay, here we go. Describes a relationship that what?
A relationship breakdown between Imholte and three others. He started disparaging them publicly on his show back in April before sending the nude photo in May. Today, other podcasters are using it as material for their shows.
Gino snitched on Aaron? Gino 100% snitched on Aaron.
Imholte is a sort of shock jock type, often saying things that some would consider racist, homophobic, misogynistic, and more. Some have said to Fox 9 that he used to walk up to the line, but now he crosses it. Imholte told police he did not recall ever receiving or sending a nude photograph of the victim. He bailed out of jail this morning with a no contact order, in addition to no disparaging comments on social media, online, or on a podcast. In the newsroom, Karen Scullin, Fox 9.
So that's interesting. That's interesting. Someone told Fox 9, I wonder who. Well, Aaron is a low. Yeah, there was the reporter, that lady. She was asking around online, but yes, I'm sure. Yeah. Sunshine says it doesn't say he can't go on my show, Lamau. those terms, direct or indirect contact, that means directly he can't, and you guys have never been to court, you'll hear it like Facebook, Snapchat, WhatsApp, anything. Can't cut them directly or indirectly through third parties. You can't have a third party go do it. So, for example, Aaron can't talk to Keanu and Keanu can't talk to Kayla. That's not allowed. Aaron couldn't talk to, he's not going to talk to April, but theoretically, he couldn't talk to April, who could then talk to Kayla. That's indirect contact. You're not allowed to do any of that. Now, I heard some people I saw this as I forget where I saw this, but people were thinking, well, if Aaron gets a super chat about Kayla and somebody just writes a name, Kayla Rakeda, what's going to happen? Just basically like Rekieta. That's right. I before E, even with the name, I guess, I think. Like, would this violate it? Like, if this came up, would this be a violation? No. He didn't say it. Now, would he bring it up? That might. Depending on how the court wants to look at it, that might be considered him actually amplifying or acknowledging the message. Otherwise, if it's just in the chat and it rolls by, I think that's not his comment. But I'm certainly if he saw it in the chat and he laughed as it went by, that's fine too. But that's how you'd have to do it. Catalina says turn off live chat. Yeah, see, I don't think that would be that now you're starting to run into, while that may be a very good and counseled idea and position, that would hurt Aaron for his business and his show. Because if he got rid of chat, that would suck for him, because then nobody, that's part of the thing, is the banter with chat and all that. It's kind of like what we're doing here. So I don't think he'd be forced to do that. He might have to just have Kayla blocked in his chats. That might be the easiest thing to do. Now he's going to have to go through there and think of all the different derivations of Kayla. Kayla with a K, with a Q, with a, all of it. That could be a way to take care of it. But yes, he got felted by Fox. I know. It's like, just listening to that whole piece is just a monster kill. It's not good, Aaron. Damn. Cherry Sour says the judge can order Aaron off the internet. He wasn't ordered off the internet. He just can't talk shit about her on the internet. He's allowed to do his show. He just can't talk about her. And that's a reasonable restriction. Yeah, you could ban her name for the chat. I think he could, but Eggbeat says total Kayla Rakeda victory. Not when you had to acknowledge the cover exists. Public acknowledgement of the cover. It's like Delta Force. No, we can neither confirm nor deny the existence of a cover. Till Kayla goes to the police, and now the cover is a matter of public record. So it's like, is it really a win? Is this really a dub, or is this a Pyrrhic victory? I call him a racist. Yeah, well, that happens. Although I think it's... Mike says, if he was on a... This is a good question. If he was on a stream and Nick joined the chat, would he have to leave? Nick's not a victim. So, no, I would argue he doesn't have to leave. Would it be smart? Oh, sure. It'd be a really good fucking idea to do. But, no, if he's in a... if him and Nick are in a... on screen together. No, they could be on screen together because Nick's not the victim. And if they were in chat together, they could talk to each other. This can't talk about Kayla, and Aaron couldn't use Nick to be a third party to talk to Kayla, although that's never fucking happening. I'm just once again using it as an indirect contact model. Easy123 says he's supposed to control his chat. Yeah. Die Freighter Watcher says, start calling her the cover queen. You're gonna get fucked over if you try making names. This is one of those times where you've got a no contact order. Don't be cute about it. Don't be cute about it. Because if you're wrong, you're going to fucking jail. Now, it may turn out the judge says, okay, that's all right. Do you want to risk going to jail for the night before, like maybe not even the night? You might be 2-3 days. You might get picked up Friday and sit the whole weekend. Is that something you remember? Because once you're already in a case, a bond violation doesn't have a speedy trial consideration. Like there is no, you have the right to be heard within such and such time. You might sit for a week with a bond violation. There's no constitutional like demand to have a hearing in such and such time. Your state might, but under the Constitution, that's not necessarily something that's typically guaranteed. Once again, every state might be different, but for the most part, you can play that game at your own risk. I would never recommend it. I would recommend not fucking talking about her. That's the safest way to do this. What if it comes up constantly? You're going to have to ignore it. Let me see here. Where are you guys? Yeah, the internet's watching me and misbehaves. That's the issue. That's the issue there. If he sends it everybody, like, that's the thing. There's an army of fucking A-logs out there that just want to burn him down. There's an army of them, and they have they're A-logs. They're podcasts that want to A-log him. There's a whole squad of people out there who will go run to the prosecutor and say, here you go. Bad Aaron doing bad man stuff. It's not going to be very very impossible. Shri says, I didn't mean to send that twice. Well, I'm going to take a look. If you need to charge back or something, you could do that if you have to. Can they still date? No. Sorry. Womp, womp, womp. Hold on here. Mario Kart is saying Keanu was constantly simping for April. Okay. PreyX12 is saying, I think it's odd that Keanu and Nick chatted you the same day. Oh yeah, I know that was totally just kind of random out of nowhere. That wasn't coordinated at all. That wasn't coordinated at all. Somebody who's never been in my chat, and then somebody who's rarely ever been in my chat. Yeah, that just all happened to happen like that. That totally wasn't coordinated. T-Rex says, when were you starting that trial you spoke of? I had some issues planning that, and there's more to that trial than I thought there was, and I need to reorganize it and get it set. So we're probably going to start that next week, and that's the. We also there's also a resolution to it that's already happened, so we'll watch it and then we can talk about it. Shri says, did you say Aaron has exculpatory evidence? Yes, apparently some sort of exculpatory evidence exists in the prosecutor's discovery disclosures. They said there's exculpatory information, but remember, how exculpatory is it? Is it like a little bit exculpatory, or is it like a lot exculpatory? I don't know. But to be fair, if it was really exculpatory, they probably wouldn't have prosecuted this. So I'm betting it's just slightly exculpatory. Or it might not even be exculpatory at all. This might be an overly cautious prosecutor, which if that's the case, that's even better because this prosecutor's really playing it honest, saying, look, I kind of think this might be, but it probably isn't. Who knows? I'll let you figure it out. Silence Do Good says, is the rumor that you're boycotting your producer true? Shh, no. Angela's saying, and this is talking about Paul Harrell. Is he the one who killed the two guys down in Arizona? No. Paul did his work up in Oregon, up in the Northwest. Garrett Pace says, "My mom, your friend's on the news." Yeah, that would be funny if the kids see it. Dad, Uncle Aaron's on the news. Mr. Aaron's on the news. Dad, what happened? Phone Funk says the cover is going mainstream. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with this. You're like, ha, ha, ha. Well, people are going to start reading that and go, a group of people sharing nudes with each other? Like, once again, how stepping on a rake to own the other guy, I guess, but you're still stepping on a rake. Cedar Rose, a new member, thank you. Sam V says discord.gg Spurgtopia for Ricada Imholte news. I guess that's the thing there. Shree says, I think you misunderstood who the her was. The her was Kayla. And I know you said it twice, so you said it twice, so I'm just highlighting it twice. I'm not sure who. I got confused about what you're talking about there. Charlie for $5 Australian redo says, chances Crackada kids saw this. Dada, Mama, why is the nice SpaghettiOs man sending mommy's nudes to Uncle Gino? Yeah, that's another problem. These kids are not stupid. They're aware of the world around them. And once again, these kids, they might get bullied. School is starting back up. So I'm sure the kids out there know what's going on. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. Codename April Stress. Is Nick doing an interview with the local Fox affiliate? I hope. If he's smart, no, he's shutting the fuck up. But who knows? Hopefully he's shut up. Let's see here. Avidan says soldier reporting in. This guy deserves everything he gets. Well, everybody in here deserves everything they get. Martino says, what if a guest starts talking about Kayla? I think you'd have to warn him, shut him up, or boot him immediately. I mean, that's not like Aaron, even if it was like Aaron's like, I got to go to the bathroom, and he gets up and the chair is just sitting there. Nope. Kayla has to be a non-topic. You don't want any guests talking about it. None of that can. He should probably take a leave of absence. Oh, yeah, sure. Oh. Miko says, why hasn't Nick been destroyed on Fox, though? Well, Aaron was a radio personality before. Aaron was known, like it was, the communications world out there. Aaron was a radio guy. So he's more prominent than Nick is. Yeah, Nick's got a shitload of subs on YouTube and all that into the Law Pope. But more people out there know who Aaron is than Nick is in that area. So it's not a surprise they covered this. Now, whether or not they're going to dig in there and dive harder to figure out what's really behind all this, well, yeah, that's the problem. Yes, once people start digging, if they're interested, they're going to keep digging a lot. Can you explain what an A-log is? I've been even called one. I got called an A-log. I don't even know what they do. Oh my gosh, you guys are... sometimes it's hard to tell who's trolling and who's not. Yes, analog. That's not what they're talking about. At least Aaron could take the win that he's more feared in the eyes of the state than Nick. The $75,000 must be the boxing. I mean, if that's how you have to cope, like my bail's higher than yours, the state, yeah, take a look, man. The government thinks I'm a bigger threat to safety and people than you are. Ha ha. That would be tough. That would be tough. Martino is saying, could Nick argue it's defamation if Fox mentioned the cucking? I think they'd have a really tough time there because they would have to know it's being done in, they have to show it's malice. And it's not. I mean, there's a lot of evidence and claims out there that it's happening. So I don't think it would work that way. I think it'd be easy to defeat, but like anybody bringing it up could go through it and say, look, there's ample proof of it. There's all kinds of shit going on. You know, they're like this thing, for example, we're in this like little nude sharing thing. Like, does anybody really believe that April doesn't stay there? She's just the nanny or she's just a friend. Like, nobody believes any of that. So, yeah, I don't think it would take much to get there. I don't think it would take much to get there. That's really what they would that's more or less what they would do there. Hold on here. Wait, did you really where did I see the Oh, Maddie B saying, seriously, I have no idea what A-logging is. Okay. A-logging is when you're out there like trolling and being overly just critical and being a big fucking asshole to things. So like when I was making fun of Nick with the whole like going to clean Detective Pomplin's boots and the whole like get your shine box, Nikki, that's A-logging. Really going after somebody like that in a bombastic and boisterous way, really just fucking with people. That's like hardcore A-logging. You know, Kino Casino engages in A-logging. They acknowledge it. It's that's A-logging. A lot of the, you know, stuff you'll see out there right now could be considered A-logging in one form or another. If somebody calls you an A-log, tell them to fuck off. That's all you need to know. Chaucerian Fraud says, how common is Nick's case? In my eyes, it's so banal. I doubt any news would bother. Sure, but when it becomes part of Aaron's story, well, it might be enough that they'll latch onto it and well, we'll pry open this box. And they look, oh, there's another box, and they pry it open. And eventually they get to the cover. And then wait, this guy on YouTube who's kind of like a YouTube version of Aaron is doing what now? And what happened to his kids? And what were they doing? Yeah, that's the problem here. That's the problem. All it takes there. John Doe says, I'm stupid. What's exculpatory evidence? Exculpatory evidence is evidence that tends to negate your guilt and enhance the idea that you did not commit the crime. There's inculpatory evidence, which is evidence that enhances and strengthens the case against you. So, for example, if you're on camera with a pistol in the liquor store in the clerk's face like this, that's inculpatory evidence. If there is video of you hanging out at a restaurant 10 miles away at that same time, you know, shoving your face with chili fries, that's exculpatory evidence because that tends to negate your guilt. Aaron's hands are registered as deadly weapons. Why? Because they can hold the microphone that the cringe comes out of? I mean, that's the only reason why I think my hands would be considered it. Aaron is literally Michael Scott from The Office. Okay. A log is not in your pants. That's not what we're talking about. So I don't know what an A-log means, but I know what A-loggers are, if that makes sense. Yeah, so the people who are out there. Rodeo, this is actually a very good question. Could Aaron testify? Yes. Even if he was convicted, yes. Now, that brings up issues for the prosecution in Nick's case, because they would say, you know, Nick's attorney. Presumably, I don't know if he would do this, but let's say they went to trial. You know, Mr. Imholte, you're here, yes. Now, presumably the prosecutor brought this up, but if Aaron's convicted of a felony, that's an automatic thing you can bring up, because a person who's convicted of a felony, there's already, under the rules of evidence, the presumption they're not trustworthy because they are a felon. Now, that becomes a felony within the past 10 years is the general rule. Minnesota might be less or more. Then it also comes down to crimes of moral turpitude. Those are always things you can use in convictions you can use to impeach someone. So you might have a misdemeanor theft conviction. Might be from 25 years ago. You could still bring that up in a lot of instances. But so, for example, somebody's forging, embezzling, stealing, receiving stolen property. Those are all crimes of like moral turpitude and dishonesty. This issue here, is this a crime of dishonesty? I don't know if you can make the argument. I think the prosecutor would try to, or the defense, in Aaron's situation, you tried to make the argument, well, he was given those pictures in a position of trust to keep them within the group, and he broke that trust and was dishonest and disseminated them. I think a court would say, like, okay, yes, in the most broadest sense of the word, but I don't think they'd allow it just to come in that way. How it would come in, though, for Aaron is he's a convicted felon and it literally just happened. Because Nick's case isn't going to go. If Nick went to trial anytime soon, it would be very quick. And Aaron's case would be done there too. But Aaron could testify. And then it's up to a jury to determine, is Aaron telling the truth? Or is Aaron full of shit? And that would be their job. Now, the prosecutor could bring up, like, when were you convicted? Yes, when were you charged after all this happened? So before all this happened, did you talk to the police? Yes. Did you tell them what happened? Yes. Is it different than what you're saying now? No. So that would be a way you can get around that and try to alleviate the issue. But yes, it doesn't look good when you have a bad guy with a criminal record, especially something like this, because they're gonna be able to talk about it. Agreed Starkly says, do you think Nick has NDA set up for his swinger signal chats? Seems like this agreement is going to be hard to prove. I can't imagine. Hold on. Do you think he has NDA set up for swinger chats? Well, you'd have to be able to sign an NDA. You can't just click through and be like, haha, you're under my NDA. Also, if that's true, it's really fucking cringe. So no, I can't imagine that's happening. So Martino is saying, is this a 200 IQ move for Nick to remove Aaron as a state's witness? No, because he can still talk about things. He can still testify. But like, if let's say Nick goes to trial before Aaron goes to trial, Aaron's charges are only pending. Nick can't bring that up because Aaron's presumed innocent still. So there might be some tactical considerations done here, but those tactics might backfire. I don't really know. Who knows really what's happening there? Obviously, we all have our suspicions, but I don't know what's happening there. Let me see. Hold on, guys. Hold on, sorry. I was trying to read that from the lovely 2.0. What's the Gino Biscotti news with all this? Well, he's the person Aaron sent the picture to, allegedly. So that's why he's there. Electronic signatures are a thing, Sean. Nick is cringe. Yeah, that whole thing would just be ridiculous. Margot says, if you're fine sharing your wife, why can't you share the pics? Oh, that's as much as, we'd like to sit here and chuckle. That argument would just fucking crash and burn in front of a jury. I mean, especially if you have a bunch of Scandinavian prudes out there, chat. Okay, yes. As 2.0 was saying, that's the same reason why he can't share the body cam or tell us about the body cam. So Mike had a question here. What are we saying? Yes, NDAs cannot legally prevent the reporting of criminal activities. That is correct. You cannot get around those. And then somebody was asking about, would Aaron be barred from talking at trial about Kayla? No. That's not where that would work. He has immunity in that situation. If he's been subpoenaed, he has the ability and right to talk. So, for example, if there's a no contact order, meaning you can't be within 500 feet of a person. Guess what? If you're hauled into court on a subpoena to testify in a case that other person's involved in, guess what? You're there because someone's forcing you. Court order's forcing you to be there. You're not breaking the rules. If he has to talk about her and use her name and talk about her all the time, sure. Now what's going to happen is whoever's using him as a witness will point out, don't look at Kayla, always look over here, look towards the jury. Don't ever look at that person that is over here you can't watch, and you can't look over there. That's how you would handle that. Let's see. So the freedom of speech guy wants people to sign NDAs. Well, yeah, it's fun. Yeah. Sounds like it. Does all this help Monty? That's the real question. No, I think Monty's just like content with kicking back and watching, Rome burn. That's the best thing he can really do at this point. That's really the best thing he can do. Bredak says, why isn't Nick charged with distribution if he purchased the coke and gave it to others? Because that would be a chicken shit use of the distribution and trafficking statutes. Okay. So yes, the idea is distribution and trafficking doesn't just mean buying and selling. It includes trading, but it also includes giving it away. Like if you're sitting there with your buddy and you both smoke some weed, you trafficked in marijuana. That's a chicken shit use of the statute. That is a chicken shit use of the statute. And here it would be too. It's people who, well, I don't think they pulled money together. I think Nick went out and bought it. But these people are together. They're all part of a little group. The idea that they're trafficking is a little, like I said, it's a little fucking ridiculous. So that's why I would say that. And let's pretend hypothetically that like Nick picked up a little bit of cocaine and gave it to April, who then turned around and gave it to Kayla, who then turned around and gave it to Aaron. Does that mean that Nick trafficked to April, April trafficked to Kayla, and Kayla is guilty of trafficking cocaine to Aaron? No, no. We don't allow that. You shouldn't allow that. That's a chicken shit abuse of the law. That shouldn't exist. I've seen stuff like that happen before, but it shouldn't happen. That would be a very fucking gross abuse of the system. Shane says, didn't Gino send the pics to Keanu? No. It looks like from the way I read it and understand it, she saw them on his phone. Even if he did, they're not within the state of Minnesota, so they have no jurisdiction over those people. Hilda says, getting prudier by the minute. Let me see here. Where was it? Josh gets the first dibs in the body cam. Yeah, that would be hilarious. Can he not show the body cam because his wife has her tits out in the footage? No, he can't show the body cam because it would show his house looks like a Haitian refugee camp. And it's really bad. And that there's drugs in the master bedroom. And there's a pile of snow out there. That's the Regatta Ski Lodge. No, that's the reason why you can't show it. That's the reason why you can't show it. Did I comment on Nick's argument the drugs were not in the open because, Nick's argument the drugs weren't in the open because they're in a container, like a bullet? I mean, maybe there's some sort of like Nick found like a case or a sentence where it says like, okay, maybe that might count. I find that very fucking hard to believe that would not count as in the open. I don't think that's going to work that way. I just don't think it's going to work that way. There's far better arguments you can make. Michael says, could the police send super chats to Aaron? This is okay. I'll give you credit. This is a very clever question. Asking incriminating questions does fall under the asking question without counsel present issue. Very good. You answered the issue there. Aaron is represented by counsel. They are not supposed to engage with him. They're supposed to engage his counsel and then and speak through his counsel, and his counsel will speak to Aaron. So that's how it should go. So yes, that would be an issue, especially if they weren't identifying themselves as officers, because you run into all those issues on top of everything else. But that's why you have to be very fucking careful about what you say, because you don't know who's fucking listening. Smug Sheep says, I mean, 1/4 of the body cam is desirable. Well, yeah. Yes, it's revenge body cam. Somebody steals it. Revan says, let the dead sue like in South Park. Oh. Egregious Darkly says, so Gino deleted the photo. He'd have to testify to prove the case. Chances that happen seem slim. I mean, based on the things here, Gino doesn't want to get involved. That doesn't mean anything. A month from now, he might be like, hell yeah, let's do it. It all depends. And he might show up the day of and still be on the, hell yeah, let's fuck over Aaron bandwagon. Or he might say, no, I'm on the let's fuck over the rest of them bandwagon. We don't know. He also might not show up. Remember, he could say, like, I'm not fucking helping you guys. It all depends. It all depends. Let's see here. Hold on. What was that? No, she was asked 2.0 a question. Would Aaron be a hostile witness? To Nick, yes, they would certainly be a hostile witness. But if the prosecution in Nick's case called Aaron, he would be a hostile witness. But that means just he's subject to cross-examination. But if he's not the defense witness, he'll be subject to cross-examination by Nick anyway. So wouldn't necessarily be too relevant there. But it's a very good question. Any guesses on their next YouTube swinging couple? I don't know. We don't know who it's going to be. That'll be interesting there. That will be the interesting thing. And also, real quick, the feds can do whatever they want. Yes, they can. There's a video of Gino trashing Aaron's chick. I'm so confused altogether. Yeah, the whole thing's got issues here, guys. The whole thing's got issues. Can the judge send Nick super chats calling him a cuck bitch? He could, but he would get in trouble for it. Margot says, my kids were always allowed in our bedroom. The door was locked during that time. Well, who really knows how things were set up there? Even if they were, that's going to be a little tough. Cedar Rose says, any upcoming trials you plan on covering? Yes, next week we're going to cover it. It's the, I thought we'd do it this week, but I only thought it was 2 days long. Apparently it's 4 days long. It's a trial of a guy named Michael Amiot. He's a police officer up here in the Cleveland area, and he was on a traffic stop, got the guy out of the car, and then things went sideways from there. And is it police brutality, or was he subduing a guy lawfully? I mean, him and this guy got into a fight. The cop ended up with a broken hand and is just wailing on the dude. And it went to trial, and it was a misdemeanor trial too. That was the interesting part about it. It was a 4-day long misdemeanor trial, and it's all about whether or not this guy assaulted the car driver. So we're going to be doing that next week. I think it's, like I said, we got to do stuff other than just murders all the time. Those get boring very quick. Let's see here. Sergeant Dornan says, I'm hugging my cat. Yes. Still Till Morning Show's back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern, confirmed. Well, I'm sure that'll be good for Aaron. I'll get a lot of people there. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are going to just log the shit out of him. But hey, goes with the territory. And hey, Clyde. Let's see if Clyde gets here. Nobody's asking for Clyde, but we need. Oh, there you go. Lois actually said so. Proof of life. Where's Clyde? Come here, buddy. Come on. Hey, come here. Come on. Ah, there we go. So we got to talk to I'm gonna have Clyde here for a couple of minutes. Oh, don't knock my headphones off, Bob. You're caught in the string. Clyde, come on. Where, buddy? There you go. So we'll talk. So he's tomorrow morning. Like I said, it's going to be very difficult. Aaron's, like I said, guys, that's got a tough line because you're going to start talking about Nick. It's very easy going to get into it. And also, as much as Aaron's going to talk shit about her, would like to, I guarantee you, Aaron still has a lot of feelings for Kayla. As much as he's going to say, oh, fuck her and all that, I guarantee you he still has a lot of feelings. Cedar Rose gifted 1 membership. Thank you. PreyX12 says, what? I missed this, but what did you think of his lawyer? His lawyer seemed to do fine. Brought up all the things I would have brought up. This idea of attorneys sounding like it's Law and Order, where it's just like a machine gunning stuff out and there's no hims or haws or uhs or ums. No. For you guys, that was interesting watching a court hearing. For that guy, it was Tuesday morning. He's going to have more court hearings this week. He's going to have more hearings this month, this year. So it wasn't a big deal for him. Cool Boy says, Patrick Melton had something unkind to say about you, pal. Not very cool. Well, did he say I wasn't very cool? Or comment? I don't know. People are allowed to say whatever they want. Like, what? I suck at this or whatever? Like, okay. Like, I've never claimed to be good at it. Dr. Madness says, Nick mentioned that eventually the DA will combine all cases together. What does he mean by that? So at the very, I think he's talking about him, April, and Kayla. That their cases will get combined together. It's possible because they all arise out of the same fact pattern. The police raided the house. They were all, well, Nick wasn't there at the time, but he's being charged with possession through the constructive idea that it's his house. He said I'm the one, it's my bedroom. I have control and dominion over my own home, and it was found in a safe in my house. Now, April's in that too, and Kayla's in that too. I think there might be some problems though, and there's a Supreme Court case called it's called Bruton. What the hell? What's the full? UNTON. So it's no, BR. Well, that's why I spelled it wrong. BRUN. Yeah, Bruton v. United States. When you have co-defendants together, you end up with a problem, and that problem is, let's say Kayla says, no, it's not mine. It's Nick's. Well, she's a little fucked. It's her house. And also, Nick has fucked her over by saying, wait, Kayla's my wife, and that's our bedroom. But they might blame April. April might blame them. There's a potential of issues there. And then with the co-defendants, well, you have the right to confront your accuser. Okay, well, I call Kayla said it was Nick's. Nick could put Nick could put April on the stand. April has the right to the Fifth Amendment. So now she's in front of a jury being forced to testify about a case. You see how this becomes an issue? So typically, if there's an issue of people potentially turning on each other, you keep the cases separated. You keep those people out, because if Nick calls April and April's in a separate trial and April testifies and she pleads the Fifth, that silence can be used against her and it doesn't affect her. And Nick still has the ability to confront his accusers. And then April can go to her own trial and do her own thing over there. And then what happened in Nick's case is irrelevant. So that's how they handle that. And there are potential issues with it. That doesn't mean that's not going to happen, but I would argue there is a potential issue there of, what's going to happen. And, with co-defendants, you run into issues about people fighting each other and turning on each other, because the judge can't come in there and say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, April said there were Nick's drugs. You can't use that against Kayla You can only use it against Nick. I mean, what's the jury going to do? They're going to turn around and fucking use it against Kayla, too. They're going to say, well, they're husband and wife and all that, and nobody was that dumb. So, hi, buddy. You want to lay down? I got you. I got you. I got you. Here we go. There you go. Relax. Lay back. I got you. Okay. All right. Dr. Amanda says, what happened to the 9-year-old testing for cocaine? Did they retest? I think so. We don't really know. Remember, all that stuff's gone, so we can't access it anymore. Was this allegation dismissed as Nix proclaims? Is CPS still in play? Well, the allegation wasn't necessarily the 9-year-old. The allegation was that there's issues of safety in the home because of the drugs found. No, the CPS case is still going. Nick showed that one day he's got a drug testing patch on because Children's Services is making him do it. He's in what's called a trial stage because they had to take the kids from the home. Now the home's finally got reset, and now they're reintroducing the children back into the environment, making sure the parents can care for the kids. So it's a restart. They're heavily being monitored, and eventually, yes, the path is to have them back to where the agency says, okay, we'll have a good one. But remember, Nick's going around talking, oh, I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed. Well, we're back in the stressful part of the year because the kids are home and they've got school and all kinds of shit. So it's not done. Aw, hi, buddy. So no, it's not over. His CPS case is still going. I mean, if it was over, he'd be running around screaming that it's over. And I mean, if it was over, Nick would, be able to slap up on the screen something from the court says, like, here's a judgment entry. This case is hereby dismissed. No more Children's Services involvement. He doesn't have one of those. If he had it, I'm sure he'd be waving it around, screaming from the rooftops with it. PreyX12 says April wanted Aaron to do an NDA before she signed the divorce papers. Yeah, I remember. I remember hearing about that now that I think about it. And Keopathic for $10 says, if you're driving and there appears to be a container in your car, and let's say it's locked, physically, even if the police force a search, can you be compelled to open the locked case? Well, I mean, it's gonna depend on your state's search and seizure laws because there is a Supreme Court precedent, but it depends on what's going on. And if you don't open it, they may open it for you. And they might open it rather forcefully and destroy it. It all depends. I would never comply. It's never a good idea to comply. Don't help them. Purple Pro says, how about a poll asking who was allowed in their parents' bedroom or not? Sure. Okay, I thought he was trying to move for a second. Skeeve Man for £5 sterling is saying, I go away for a while and suddenly there's more drama. I guess I stay on the internet 24/7 from now on. All hail the Sausage Finger King. Aw, thank you. Isaac Brooks, Wholesome Gabagool Art says, Clyde looks like Doggo Ben Franklin. Better neuter. Yeah, he got neutered by the APL when he got surrendered to him. So that's not something we have to worry about. Yes, Verifier says it's not complicated. Everyone involved is human garbage. That's a fair way to handle it. Young Black Economist says the Fed lied to Congress to cover up for the fact that I'm a pothead. I told them everything in the congressional report, and they said the witness was drunk. Feds do whatever they want. Yeah, the Feds do. The Feds do whatever they want. Hubble says it went sideways like the guy was Asian. No. Pam Anderson sued over the sex tape after being in Playboy. Yes, it did. That was a whole mess. The oh god, who's in it? That Seth Rogen video, Pam and Tommy, the movie, is actually pretty funny. Jim Cox says the woman who the woman who was left handcuffed in the car when the train tracks were there, she got $8 million. Wow, cool for her. That's awesome. I think that makes sense. Let me see here. Yes, if you guys don't know, this is Clyde. He's our dog. He's such a good boy. He's such a good boy. Why did I save the Ethan Ralph sex tape to my hard drive? It's all about having inspirational goals. Oh yes, Clyde has not had any hemp treats today. He's just very. This is him a lot of times. He just, if you hold him, he likes being held like a baby, and just flips over. Shane says, doesn't Nick pressing these charges open the door for Nick's deviant behavior and be relevant in his own cases? No. Remember, it's got to have some relevancy to whether or not they're like he possessed cocaine in excess of 25 grams. That's the relevancy issue you have to address. Does it make it more likely or does it make it less likely? What's the probative value? Does it make it any less likely or more likely that Nick possessed firearms while possessing guns? Or that there's a child endangering? The polycule doesn't really do that. But bringing it up in Aaron's case does bring it all out in the light. So that's the problem. That is the problem. Let me see here. He still owes Monty $300. Yeah, he does. J-Rock says Aaron need to Photoshop Kayla's pics so she's holding a sign that says I love cocaine. That would also be a violation of his protection order and the no contact order. That would be really fucking stupid to do. I understand that's a joke, but that would be a really bad fucking idea. Aaron, don't fucking do it. Don't do any of that kind of shit. I really, truly mean that. Don't do any of it. Oh, do you want down, bud? Or are you just stretching? What the fuck are you doing? Do you want over? Okay, I'll put you down. I got you, buddy. There you go, bub. I think he was done. I think he wanted to go see 2.0. And what was I looking for now? Oh, remember what I was looking for? I forgot to pop out chat. That's why. That's why something seemed weird. That's why it seemed weird. So hold on here. There we go. He adopted me as emergency food. Yeah. Pyramid 7 says, look at KCR chats, super chats on stream. Sure. Just don't acknowledge them. Like, don't do what I'm doing right now. Bring them up. Just ignore them. Let people waste fucking money. Let's see. Saying, can Aaron and Ricada become cellmates to keep the polycule going? They both go to... Well, remember, Nick's not going to jail. Nick's not going to jail. Nick's not going to prison. I've already bet people that's not happening. So they're not going to have to worry about that being cellmates. And is Aaron going to jail? Probably not. I mean, it's potential, but his he's got a higher potential than Nick, but it's still not super huge, I would argue. Although it depends. That judge, his attorney knows who that judge is, and he might be thinking like it's a coin flip. We don't really know. Jerry says Nick will offend again and he'll end up in jail. Well, he hasn't offended yet. He hasn't been convicted yet, so he hasn't offended. Casper says that the MLS sock accounts follow us here. His trolling was legendary tonight. On what? What the hell is going on? If you get caught distributing revenge porn, do the police delete the photos and videos? You mean like, will the police delete it? Well, I'm sure they would take pictures of it, or if like they could download it to show it was there, or show where it was accessed from. But that could be a physical exhibit for a while. It's like no different than child pornography. The police actually have control of cheese pizza. It doesn't get, they hold on to it. Unless you're the FBI and you're actually running a child pornography distribution ring. Because you're like, oops, we left it on. Oh, he is? Where's Steve? I didn't see him. Okay, well, Steve, if you're in here, hello. Hi, Steve. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Well, hold on. Oh, Chatson, you're saying, I wonder if Aaron will still have the photos after all this is over. I mean, I think most signals sets to delete after a while, and I think he probably would show his phone's been wiped clean. But I mean, that's still one of the issues. Yeah, once it's like, can they ever believe him that it's gone? I don't know. And then how do we know for sure it's gone off Gino's phone? 'Cause remember, even though you delete it, it's not gone. You have to like wipe the data. That the data is still there in some form or another. Just because it's deleted doesn't mean it's gone. Kayla's recent post says she doesn't like Nick making her the center of attention. She's pissed. When did she make a recent post? I haven't heard about a recent thing. So I'm not sure where you're. Yeah, you have to overwrite the data. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure you're going there. But hold on one second, chat. Guys, we think that comment people have seen is from back in the day when they were doing all the bottles and all the goofy shit. It's not a new comment, it's an old comment. So once again, that goes back to the idea of, well, yeah, I can use all this, but it's also old. And part of it being old is, well, if I quit doing it, I haven't done it in 2 years. That might show I don't consent to doing it like this anymore. I don't like doing that anymore. I think that's, once again, the age gives you a problem. And then it just becomes, why was Kayla's court hearing delayed for so long? Well, eventually at some point she got an attorney, which thank fucking God she did. Because otherwise she was just kind of chugging along on her own for some reason. She finally got her own fucking attorney, which is what she needs. Because relying on Nick and his attorney is not a good idea when you're a co-defendant like that. Get your own attorney. Nick streamed right after Aaron's arraignment. I didn't hear about that. Kayla posted it on her OnlyFans. Funny. You're a funny guy. What would happen if Aaron and Gino's phones never make it to court? Serious question. They don't need to be. Those phones don't need to be there. I'm serious. Eyewitness testimony is evidence. Gino can say, Aaron sent me a text message. In that text message was a naked picture of Kayla. I know who Kayla is. I can identify her. She had all these kinds of tattoos on. So having the phone itself is not important. There are multiple ways you can establish something happened. Now, obviously, having the phone, having the data, like I said, having that picture going, bam, this is the picture we retrieved off the phone. Is this the picture you saw, Mr. Biscani? You go, yup, that's it. Is it the same substantially similar condition? Yup, it looks like the one I received. There. That's a very accurate way of doing it. A very damning way of doing it. But if all you have is he sent me a picture. I remember getting it. That's fine too. That's fine too. There are. Oh, Luke, are you talking about your case down in New Zealand? Kayla still have a YouTube channel and comment on Alyssa's channel. Yeah, but remember, that's in the past. Like, is it happening right now? Then it's not as really critical or important as you think it is. Aaron's going to call up his Mongol brothers and call in a favor. Yeah, I'm sure that's not going to go that way. Oh, hold on here. What is this person on? Oh, yes. And guys, if you weren't aware, the Tennessee trans shooter, the manifesto got released. Holy cow. If you haven't seen that, that's going to be crazy. Bahrain says Kayla hates Alyssa clips, according to Aaron. Well, not really surprised. Not a surprise at all. Air Dog's hairline is killer. I don't know who Air Dog is. Young Black Accountant says there's zero chance Gino didn't take a photo of his phone with a different device when the photo was pulled up. If his brain functions properly, he would have done this, but I don't know this Gino guy. Is he dumb too? I mean, he could have done that. That's the thing. We don't know what happened with that. Like, Gino says he deleted it. Well, they might. I'm surprised that, if he lived in Minnesota, they probably would have tried to figure out a way to get a warrant for his phone or a subpoena for the phone. But since he's out of state, that's not really going to happen. And they could try to get a warrant and do all of that, but this is for some piddly rinky-dink case. Ultimately, it's not like it's a murder. Like with Alec Baldwin, they got his phone retrieved from New York, but there was also somebody got killed. I should read the Tranifesto. We will on Thursday. I watched Kirsha read through the whole trans manifesto. She writes like a teenage girl. Yeah. All right, guys. I think we're all caught up here. Let me see. 2 live streams. Are you crazy? Yes. So we are going, guys, from here. We are doing it a little bit later tonight. We are covering Patrick Tomlinson. If you guys have ever seen the memes of enjoying prison stalker child, he's a lol cow in his own right. He's suing his police department in Milwaukee because not that they don't show up. He's suing them because they show up and because they're mean to him when they respond to swatting calls. And yes, Paul Harrell passed about an hour ago. Yes. So we are all caught up, guys, here. Is it illegal to get felted? No, it's not illegal to get felted. And one real quick, we got one last super chat. Sika Loader for 10 Singapore dollars saying Aaron Imholte could still mention Nick Rekieta. Yes. As far as I know, yes, there was no prohibition on it. By the way, I've DM'd you a photo of a beer bottle stuck up an exposed spotty bottom. Your boy did good, eh? Can Rekieta sue me for revenge porn? No, because he completely published it. So that is it, guys, for us here tonight. I will hold on here. I gotta send everybody. I'm gonna send you guys over to that chat. We're gonna start shortly. In probably about 30 minutes, we'll be over there to start that up. Pray 12 said, I have a super chat you didn't answer. Did I? You're saying April wanted Aaron to sign an NDA before she signed the divorce papers. Yeah, I remember that. I missed, but what did you think of his lawyer? I thought his lawyer did a good job. I mean, it's an arraignment. It's very. This wasn't a hyper technical situation where you're making a lot of legal arguments. It's a very basic bitch hearing. He did a good job, but I'd expect most attorneys to do a good job in that situation. It's kind of a normal thing. And then yeah, I caught everything else. Just double checking here. So I remember who he is now. Yes. Send me the Alyssa clips. She's not live. I'm not sending you the Alyssa clips. But I think I got your super chats. I'm not I think I've logged in. I think I've logged enough for this morning. Time for Zitter. Well, then it'll be there. Yes, it will be a new live stream. So we're going to be covering the police responding to his lawsuit, and he just filed a response in the past week or so. Beto Mary says a basic bitch hearing. Yeah, it was. It was a very basic thing. There was no. It's. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. So okay, X12. You're saying what can we do for him? Not money, like Aaron. If you want to help Aaron, I mean, Aaron doesn't need help. I mean, he's not. Like I said, he's the cleanest turd in the toilet, along with the other turds floating around. He's like the more firm turd, not the runny turds or the soft turds that are kind of squishy. So no, he's not a cause de celeb, really. I mean, this is all kind of a bit of the fun of a LARP here. I mean, there really isn't. I mean, if he starts wanting to raise money, he can raise money. But other than that, no, this is not personal army time. I wouldn't recommend doing any of that. I wouldn't recommend doing gay ops. That would be all really bad. So, I mean, if you really are my baby Aaron didn't do nothing wrong. You want to act like a mom of the hood, you can do that. But I'm just saying I don't. I mean, I've enjoyed these past 3 months, but I think there's a little bit of perspective there we need. Red Feather saying, when's the next stream happening? At 10:05, I set the timer for. Yeah, Aaron will be fine, yes. You'll see if it happens. But, the only other thing we can do right now, really, at this point, the only other thing we can really do to help Aaron at this point is just keeping it alive, is telling you all about Stoney's Bar. Yes, once again, chat, Stoney's Bar at 158 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota. Stoney's is your place to go. They are open now. They are open till 10 p.m. tonight. We're about to get the last call at Stoney's. You want to get another suds, depart your thirst. We're getting to the end, chat. Wednesday night closes at midnight. Thursday night closes at midnight. And then Friday and Saturday open till 1 a.m. And Sunday open till midnight. They got some interesting stuff coming up. They have the Lee Betts Memorial Ride for Veterans on September 7th. It's $20 a person. Includes a meal. Drives around through the St. Cloud area. And then on September 8th, they have the St. Augusta American Legion Riders 3rd Annual Ride. It's $20 a person. You get to ride around starting at 11, back by 4:30. And you get a breakfast sandwich before the ride if you sign up. Those are some of the events going on at Stoney's this week. Also, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, $2 cans every Thursday. Only at Stoney's. Celebrating 30 years. There, that's how we can help them. That's how we can help them. Love It 2 Times says, where's Stoney's? Yes, Rockville, Minnesota. That's how we can help. And guys, yes, if things get crazy, Vince Griswold says for $230 from tonight. Streamlabs, Venmo, PayPal. I don't use Streamlabs, but I do Venmo and PayPal. Kimbo says, I hear lucky guys get sucked off in the Stoney's bathrooms. Oh, no. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Depends on who you are. That depends on who you are, I guess. All right, here. That is just not good. Oh, no. Some of you guys. All right, chat. So we really are done now. This is it. Yes, we're no overtime tonight, chat. No overtime. We are going on to a new stream. Do I get money from Stoney's? No. Just helping Aaron keep carrying the flame. We're preserving the flame for Aaron until he picks it up tomorrow. Can't let Stoney's did nothing wrong. They don't deserve to get lost in the sauce. Somebody has to help protect them till Aaron can take them back under his wing. Yes, Extendo Show, chat. No, the Extendo Show is the next one. So, guys, thank you all for being here. Once again, my name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. If there is more, there will be more for Nick Rekieta. Like, we'll actually talk about what's going on in his world. His attorney has until Friday to respond to the dealing with the whole Frank's motion to suppress that entire omnibus issue that's being presented. That is due by Friday. So if it comes out Friday, certainly we'll take a look at it. We'll see. Hopefully it's a little better. And we'll see if it's better than the first time they put up. And then Margot is saying, do you stream trials? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We streamed a bunch of them. And like I said, next week, we're streaming Michael Amiot. He is a police officer here in the Cleveland area. He got accused of misdemeanor assault on a guy and deprivation of civil rights under Ohio law. And it was a very interesting trial. We're going to cover that next week. I think that's, like I said, a little bit of a change up. We need some murders and super bad stuff. Although potential police brutality is an awful and horrible thing to deal with. Nobody died. So that's a good thing. And then, let me see here. Tomorrow night, we are going to be addressing the issues of Anand Syed. He is the guy in Maryland where, from the Serial podcast, he ended up, because of the Serial podcast, the state of Maryland, the prosecutor's office said, we don't think he did it. We want to dismiss the charges. The defense obviously says, cool, let's do it. Court said, fine. The victims, the dead girl's family, raised and bitched and moaned and pissed and shit all their way through the Maryland Supreme Court. And the Maryland Supreme Court has said, because the victims didn't get to cry and piss and shit their pants at the hearings, the murder convictions reinstated. So we're going to talk about that and victims' rights running amok tomorrow. That should be a lot of fun. Hopefully I can get somebody like Kurt, see if he wants to come on, because it's a very interesting opinion. It's also like 140 pages, so we'll need some help there. And then we are all set, chat. So I will see you. That's shame says, like, I hate victims. Me too. Me too. Christine says, would you answer me about the Taco Bell shooting? Any local gossip? Taco Bell shooting? What are you... Oh, you're talking about down. Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, it was just a murder-suicide from what I can tell. So, got to get that Baja Blast. Saves lives. Yes, I live near the Mistake by the Lake, Cleveland. Yes, I live very close to the lake. Very close. So, guys, thank you very much for being here tonight. Like I said, once again, just remember till next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Unless you fucking film yourself committing goddamn crimes. Then you might be guilty. So, good night, chat. Take care. I'll see you guys in about 20 minutes.
Weapons blacksmithing and models of planes, esoteric works and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rick hated yelled